Okay, so you use breath M to do your stuff. I just use calibration 1 typically to open that. So to start the calibration, we'll go parameters, calibration wizard. So here you just hit OK. It'll ask for the barometric pressure and the room temperature. So I mean, you know where to get those. Here's what I convert for you.
20.7.
20.7?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
So you enter those numbers in, hit OK. So now it's going to try to measure the volume. So you have to make sure that these two machines are turned on in order for it to measure. So this one here is for power. Push that on. This number should be right at 0. So that's good. Over here, this one's also on the far right at the bottom. So you just flip that on and you'll see the numbers. So this one's measuring flow, this one's measuring volume, and it sends the signal to that computer. So the first thing I do is I take this plunger and I look to see how the flow is, make sure it's roughly the same in both directions, and afterwards I look at the screen and make sure that it's also measuring flow. Looks good, and the computer's good. So it's taking in some data. So you hit OK. Yeah, just wait for this to do its thing. So now it's going to measure volume. So that syringe is set to 3.003 liters. That's a known volume. So what we're looking at here is the discrepancy between what I'm actually pumping and what the machine is seeing. Then I can put a correction factor on to make sure we get accurate volumes. Is it okay? And then you just go through with the plunger. And you'll see the data come up on the screen. And you want to make sure you do this at different velocities. That way the computer gets an idea of the flow, different flow rates, and it will have a correct measurement altogether. So you hit OK. This light here is still dark. It always is the first time, so we hit OK. It'll ask you to do it again. So hit OK, and then OK down here, and then redo it. Okay, so now you see that red is like bright, it's on, so it's good. So it's going to keep asking you to redo it. When that light's on, you can hit cancel, and then OK down here. So volume's done. Now you can see what the gain is, or I guess the multiplication factor it'll use to calculate volume. It'll have like an offset, and yeah, so that's it for that part. So this is always average both calibrations, so you just hit OK. So now it's going to measure the gas concentrations. So this first one is atmospheric air. So just hit OK. Actually, before I do that, I should mention it's going to be measuring from this line here. So when I do this step, I tend to just have it sitting out here, so it measures the atmospheric air. So hit OK. Then I will pump it. Okay, so the next one's going to be the other gas. So this one has oxygen below what you would breathe out and CO2 above what you would breathe out. The point of this is that the computer can use two data points that it knows, and then any gas concentration in between, the voltage coming from the spec, it'll be able to assign a specific concentration to that. So again, it's being measured from the capillary line, but this time it'll be with the calibration gas that's associated with those numbers. So you put this in here, we'll turn on the gas and then let it run. The one thing I should mention while doing this is those numbers are based on the numbers we get from the tank. So if you're here long enough that you end up needing to get a new tank, these will be a different set of numbers. You'll have to change those numbers to match with the calibration gases. So I'll turn that on. When I turn this on, you should see a change in the numbers on the spec, which you do.
Right, I see those.
So now that I know that it's measuring that, I'll go ahead and pump it here. So same thing.
It's crowded.
Yeah. So these voltages here for the CO2 gain, it's usually going to be between 6.6, 6.7, and 7. So as long as it's around that, that's fine. For the oxygen, it should be somewhere around 37 to 40. If they're wildly away from there, then there's some deviation. You'll have to redo the calibration. For these numbers down here, this is the standard deviation in the pressure. So because these are known gases, the standard deviation should be very low, like it should be very close to 0, which they are here. So this is good. So hit OK. This is just pulse oximeter. You can just hit OK on these. And then we'll do it again. OK. So this now is asking if you want to save it as the file name you picked. I usually hit yes in case you do other testing for the day or within a few hours, and then you don't have to redo the calibration for each time. So now calibration 1 is done. Now we have to what we call measure delays, which is just under parameters.
Parameters, measure delays.
So what this is measuring is the time it takes for the gas to reach from the capillary line to the mass spec to the computer. That way when it's receiving information on the volumes, it'll know what gases to associate. That way you can calculate oxygen, CO2 consumption, and whatnot. So every time you do this, you'll have to click OK. It's going to get like a baseline signal, and then you'll flick on the calibration gas switch so I can see when it changes, and then it'll measure the time it takes, or the delay between the electrical signal coming in when it's turned on to when it actually measures the gas. So you hit OK, and then I'll just flip this on.
Okay.
It'll go for a few seconds, and then we'll get a number here. So these two numbers need to match, and in the best world it would be 330 to 350 milliseconds, but with this specific one we have right now, it's usually about 370 to 400. So you just keep doing that until you get those numbers.